Hey, what is going on, Fan Clan? I really need your help. I'm super excited for this. We are going to celebrate Dripcember this year, and we are going to do it with a bang. We are teaming up with Drip to give away 151 booster packs of Scarlet and Violet 151, completely for free. We're going to give all these away, 151 packs. Also, if that wasn't enough, we're also giving away the entire Trinity. So the Venusaur, the Blastoise, and I still need to get the Charizard. But we'll have the Charizard here as well. All in CGC Gem Mint 10s. We're going to be giving all this stuff away. When, Fanny? When are you going to do that? Well, this upcoming Sunday, December 22nd at 8 p.m. Central Time. That's right, late night Fanny mode will be enabled. We're going to stream over on Drip. You got to be there. I want to make this thing absolutely massive. I want, like, the most people possible. You got to be there to win. It's going to be an absolute blast, and I hope to see you there. Come celebrate Dripcember with me. You guys are awesome. I love you guys. 150,000 subscribers. You guys are absolutely amazing. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Seriously, when I started this whole channel, I thought maybe like 2 or 3 people would watch it, and you guys are absolutely amazing. So thank you so much. The road to 200,000 starts now. 200,000 is a big deal because then I can finally get my haircut. Look at this. I look absolutely ridiculous. So if you're new to the channel, you like Pokemon, you appreciate the content, please hit that subscribe button down below. Leave a like, leave a comment. I say it every video. I try to say it at the end. But it really does do a lot. Every time you just hit that like button, hit that comment button, and just type whatever. Just say, Fanny, you're never going to make it to 200,000 before you need a haircut. You need a haircut now, like yesterday. Like that's fine. Like that at least it, like, the algorithm feeds into. You guys know how YouTube are. I don't even know why. We're going to talk about more important things in today's video, like this. This is just a booster pack. This isn't like, this is just a Surging Sparks booster pack. But let me know if this is you. Do you take a booster pack of Pokemon cards, rip it open like this, look at things, and just kind of look for the ultra rare, and if there is none, you just take it and you just set it in a pile? Like, is that what you do? Because that's what a lot of people do. A lot of people do this. I'm telling you, it is important to sort your Pokemon cards as you go, and there's a reason behind it. There is a big reason behind it. So I mean, what I would do is I would take your Pokemon cards. So right here we've got all of our commons and uncommons. I would take these and put all of them in a pile except for this one right here. That is a trainer card. I would put that in its own pile. So you've got all your commons and uncommons in one pile. You've got your trainers in one pile. I would put reverse holos in a pile, and then I would put your holo rare in one pile, and your energy in a pile, and your code card in a pile. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 piles. Pile Fanny. That doesn't make any sense, but you got 6 piles, and then I would have bulk boxes. Basically, this is what I do. I have bulk boxes for each of those rarities. So then, obviously, when you pull ultra rares, those will go separate. It is important to do it that way, and here's why. Because if there is a situation where bulk Pokemon cards, a specific one, start shooting up, at least you have things organized by rarity. I cannot tell you how many times people are like, I record a video like this where we talk about some cards that are important to pull out of your collection or out of your bulk, and they're like, wow, I've got a lot of stuff to go through and none of it is sorted whatsoever. This at least brings that time down a little bit. And with everything going on in Pokemon right now every Pokemon product is pretty much hot. We're going to talk about that throughout the week, but you want to find value wherever you have it, because that's going to help decrease the average pack price. Your average booster pack price is really what you want to look at. You want to make booster packs as cheap as you possibly can. If you're a sealed collector, you want that booster box. You want those booster packs inside to be as cheap as they possibly can be. If you're somebody who just likes to rip, if you're just somebody who likes to open up Pokemon cards, you want those Pokemon cards to be as cheap as possible. So that way, when you pull something out of it, hopefully that average value gets a little bit closer to that pack price that you're paying. So it's important to know what you have. And every once in a while, I cannot tell you how many times this has happened, where a card does extremely well in competitive play, and all of a sudden it just takes off. It just takes off, it shoots up, and a lot of people are like, whoa, I didn't realize that card was worth so much money. Well, do you watch Fanny Dantup, first of all, because he will let you know when it happens. Secondly, good thing you have your bulk organized, because then you can easily find this stuff, and then you can either sell them off to on TCG Player, on eBay, or you can sell them to like a storefront. The thing is, this is really important. cards like this, we're going to talk about reverse holos in specific today. Cards like this are very tough sells. So if you're somebody who's looking, you reach out to me, let's say, or you reach out to your local card store and you're like, hey, I've got $1,000 worth of reverse holos I really want to sell to you guys. Can I trade them in? You are not going to get probably like 80, 95, 90%, somewhere around. You're not going to get anywhere close to that because they're very tough sales. They are tough sales except for at like competitive events. And then they do okay on sites like TCG Player. They do okay on sites like eBay. If you can do it on your own, that's going to be great. That's going to give you the most bang for your buck. But if you want to bulk them all out, you're probably looking at like 60, 50%, somewhere around there, just because you're looking at 13% fees every time one of those gets purchased. You're looking at 30 cents fees every time one of those gets purchased because that's the additional fee that TCG Player charges. Then you're looking at shipping costs and things like that. Like it adds up. And those lower value cards, even if they're worth a few dollars, those fees can add up really quick. So it is important to trade these off, sell these off, but at the same time, make sure to not limit your expectations, but understand your expectations. So I'm gonna flip you guys around so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. We're gonna start out with an honorable mention. This doesn't count. This one does not count because you are not gonna get rich off of this one, but this is one you may want to look into and keep an eye on. This is just a Cleffa. This is a Cleffa from Obsidian Flames. This card has been doing extremely big things in competitive play because of its attack right there, Grasping Jaw. You might be like, hey Fanny, what is that energy card? That is no energy card. Basically, it has a free attack. That little white dot right there is the replacement of an energy. That means that it doesn't cost any energy to do this attack. Draw cards until you have 7 cards in your hand. So it just increases consistency of a deck. You will see this in basically what we just had in Toronto or in a regional event that happened over the weekend in Canada. Like every single Ogre Pond deck, every single Regidrago deck was playing multiple copies or at least a copy of Cleffa because of Grasping Jaw. It's just a very, very, very good attack to help you load up on resources. And those decks are so important to burn through resources and cycle through your cards as quickly as you possibly can because setting up your game state, setting up your board state really gives you an advantage moving forward in the game. It's going to take you a few turns to get everything set up, and then you can start taking multiple KOs, then you can start stacking damage, then you can start putting yourself in position to win a match. So that's why Cleffa is doing so great. Obsidian Flames is a set that's a little bit older now, so not a lot of people are cracking it as much as some of the other sets that have come out recently. So this card, you might have to dig a little bit, but it is starting to gain. So the reverse holo right now selling for about 43 cents. Yeah, Fanny, that's not a lot. It's up about 187%, which is a decent amount, but it was a 12-cent card. So just keep your eye on it. That's why it's an honorable mention. It's not that big of a thing. Here's Earthen Vessel right here. This one's come down a little bit, and we did get Earthen Vessels as kind of a reprint, so there's more copies of Earthen Vessel that are out there to help. However, it didn't get reprinted in a reverse holo form. That you can only pull that out of Paradox Rift. So it did get not necessarily reprinted, but restocked in sets like the Trainer Toolkit, which just came out. The Build and Battle Kits from Surging Sparks. Several of those have a copy of the Earthen Vessel in them. It is a huge deck card. It's pretty much played in every single deck because, again, it helps with the consistency. Search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards, and you can put them into your hand. So you do have to discard something from your hand, but that's okay because a lot of times you're just recycling stuff anyways, and then you'll put it back into your deck later on, or you just get rid of a card that you don't need in the matchup that you're playing, but being able to accelerate energy on certain Pokemon to help you KO the opponent is a big deal. So because of that, and people wanting to play max rarity, or because people just want to be able to have a unique identifier when they're doing a deck search. So a lot of times you will Ultra Ball away a couple cards at the beginning of the game, and you will search through your deck to see what's prized. Well, if you have 2 copies of Earthen Vessel that are regular and 2 copies that are reverse holo, it helps you quickly identify a little bit easier what cards might be prized, because you might see 2 copies of a reverse holo Earthen Vessel in your deck, and that's it. And then you're like, oh, well, I've got 2 Earthen Vessel prized. That's going to be a problem, so I have to make sure that I am patient with utilizing this resource right here. And because of that, it's done extremely well in competitive play, and it's gone up a lot in the market. So Paradox Rift, a set that's about a year old right now, in January of 2024, it was sitting at about $1.16 for the reverse holo. Look what it's done over the past year, which is absolutely insane. The normal rare copy, or the normal uncommon copy of this card, has come down a lot because it is easily accessible now in a lot of other products that are out there, like what we talked about before with the Trainer Toolkit and the Build and Battle Kits, but the reverse holo cannot be pulled in those. So the only way to get a reverse holo copy of it is in Paradox Rift, and because of that, it is just exploded in price over the past year. It's up about 547%, so doing extremely well. Again, you're not going to be able to sell this card probably to an LGS for like $7. I would just kind of stymie your expectations on it. You should still be able to get $5 for it maybe, which isn't bad. That's going to buy buy you a lot of ultra rares, a lot of illustration rares, things like that you might want to utilize, especially if you're somebody who doesn't play competitively and you just look to master sets. A singular copy of this, so like this right here, this is a reverse holo earthen vessel, just trading that off. Like you can trade on Facebook, you can trade on Burbank City Gym on Facebook, or in Discords, on Reddit, places like that. You meet other people in the community, people who could use this card, and you can trade it for, I don't know, this Briar, this full art Briar right here is worth pretty much the same thing. So adding a piece to your collection that you actually need, that's why it's so important to organize your bulk properly. Bulk is nowhere near what it used to be, for sure. You used to be able to get 6-7 cents for a single common or uncommon. You don't get that anymore. Now you're lucky if you can find somebody to buy it for a penny, because it's just so over bloated throughout the community, because so much Pokemon cards have been open throughout the past few years. So Earthen Vessel Reverse Holo doing really well. Pokestop, I would get rid of this one now. I would not wait because rotation is coming. We talked about this recently on like Thanksgiving, the regular uncommon copy of it. It's moving that one off too, but also the reverse holo. The reverse holo up to about $6.70 right now. That's an all-time high for this card. It's up about 368% and continuing to climb, because this is such a big card in competitive play. You can see where it was last January. It was at $1.20. It was relatively flat, but now it's being utilized a lot more in competitive play, and with rotation looming. So once rotation hits at the beginning of 2025, it's like March, April, when rotation is going to hit, basically right around the time of our next main series set release. So not Prismatic Evolution, but Journey Together, I think is what it's called. Once that set releases, we're going to hit rotation. This card is not going to be legal in competitive play anymore. So that means it's going to die completely. The reverse holo is going to fall apart in price. The normal copy is going to fall apart in price. Now is the time you really want to move off a lot of these extra cards, especially the ones that are going to be hitting rotation. Night Stretcher is not one of those cards. And the reverse holo, again, the only way to get this is in the Shrouded Fable booster pack. They do have reprints or restocks of the normal variant, so the non-holo variant. We just saw those in Surging Sparks build and battle kits as well. But over the past 6 months, these do move very quickly, and you can see up about 130%. So this is sitting at $2.88 right now, which is just off of its all-time high of $3 and a penny. So if you opened up a fair amount of Shrouded Fable, definitely want to pull out those reverse holo Night Stretchers, set those aside, maybe trade them off, add some different pieces to your collection. The Arvin, this one has come down a little bit, and again, a lot more Arvins have hit the market. So there were two different printings of this one in Scarlet and Violet base and in Obsidian Flames. We're looking specifically at the one in Obsidian Flames right now, but you can see in December of 2023, it was sitting about 71 cents. It did go all the way up to about $6.12 for a reverse holo copy. Now, the only way you can get the reverse holo copy is in Obsidian Flames or Scarlet and Violet base. But now these Charizard decks that recently came out, those have Arvins in them. I believe the Trainer Toolkit also does, and because of that, there's a lot more Arvins that have hit the market. But again, if you're a competitive player playing either max rarity or playing different variations of rarity, so that way you can easily search through your deck, reverse holo is definitely still something that a lot of people like to use, and you can see the quantity is still fairly strong out there. So right now it has dropped a little bit, still up about 338% over the year. It's at $3.11 right now, so definitely a card you want to move off of. Double Turbo Energy, another one of those that is rotating out, so now is the time you want to get rid of these. Still selling at a decent price point. In February of 2024, this was a 45-cent reverse holo, relatively flat until recently, and then it jumped up to about $4.95. So it has backed off a little bit, sitting at $4, but this will be a card that rotates. So if you do have these in your reverse holo bulk box, you want to move off of them now. Still up almost 600% over the past year, so doing extremely well. You're not going to get rich off of these cards for sure, but adding little pieces to your collection, if you can get $2, $3 off of something like this, definitely the time you want to move off of it, trading it in, doing things like that, especially if you're somebody who just likes to crack packs. Take it to your local. If they're willing to give you 50% at your local game store, this is almost a booster pack right here by itself. So definitely something to look at. Pokegear 3.0 from Scarlet and Violet base. This one should stay in format for another year yet. This one has moved up quite a bit. You can see up almost 1,258%. You don't see that very often, but last year in January, it was a 31-cent card. It recently just hit $4.87. Pokegear has been something in the past that has gone through a lot of ebbs and flows because it is a little bit niche. You look at the top 7 cards of your deck, you find a supporter card there, and you put it in your hand. It's a trainer card, it's an item card. You can use these as much as you want during the game as long as you have them in your hand. But because of that, it is a little bit more niche, and if it does fall out of favor, this price is going to come down quite a bit. So it did hit $4.87 recently. $4.21 is its current price point. You can see ridiculous percentage that it's gained. insane. But again, another card that if you can get $2, $3 for, definitely something you want to move off of, especially because that's going to help you if you're somebody who's like, hey, I want to get Prismatic Evolution. If you got a stack full of this stuff and you're willing to take 50% for it, take it to your local and be like, hey, I've got this stuff. I want to buy Prismatic Evolutions. And they're like, hey, yeah, okay, well, I'm going to scalp the heck out of this. I'm going to charge you $75. If you got a stack full of this stuff that's worth $50 and you can take $25 for it, well, that brings it down to MSRP. So, I mean, I guess it's have your cake, eat it too type situation. Obviously not great to be scalping, but at the same time, it brings the price point down a little bit more and you're off of extra bulk that's just kind of sitting around not doing anything. If you keep waiting for it to, I'll do this later, eventually it's going to be too late. So VS Seeker, there's another format that does exist called Gym Leader Challenge or GLC. So a card like VS Seeker, which isn't legal for competitive play in sanctioned tournaments. There are other tournaments that happen on regional weekends. A lot of times on Sunday, they will run a GLC tournament. You don't get points for something like that as of right now, but it is definitely something that could be an option in the future if Pokemon started recognizing as a sanctioned event, if there was enough popularity there. A lot of people like to play older format decks, and because of that, VS Seeker, which was a staple, came out of Phantom Forces, lets you put a supporter card from your discard pile back into your hand so you can recycle a lot of those resources extremely easily. In December of 2023, this was at $5.62. It's up about 30.5% over the past year. Not a card that moves a whole lot. It doesn't move super quick, but if you have reverse holo variants, a lot of people will like to bling out their max rarity, their GLC deck, because it's only one deck that they're really not going to change. They might tweak it a little bit, but for the most part, they're going to play a specific type. The thing with the GLC deck is you can only play one of each card. You can't play 4 copies, so you can't have a play set of VS Seeker, so a lot of time they will only look for a singular copy of this card at a time, but sitting at $7.35 right now, that's a 1-year high for this card. Same thing with Floatstone. Floatstone has jumped up quite a bit. It's at $7.37 and continuing to rise. I think the lowest one listed was at about $15. There's 2 different variants of this one, so you're looking at the one from Breakthrough right now. I think there's also one from Plasma Freeze. I think it was Plasma Freeze is where it came out. In January of 2024, this was $5.26. The non-holo variants of this is still very, very good, but if you've got reverse holos, you can see $7.37 is where it's currently sitting, and it's selling fairly frequently, not a whole lot on a weekly basis, but it's up about 40% over the past year and continuing to trend up, so that one's doing really well. Then we've got Double Dragon Energy, another card that would be more useful in a set or in a format like Gym Leader Challenge. This one did go down a little bit. You can see in May, that's when it actually hit its 1-year low of $4.36, but it's been steadily rising since then. There are a couple different variants of this one, but we're looking at the one in Phantom Forces. It's up almost 30% over the past year, up a little bit more than that since April, sitting at $6.49. So that's a 1-year high for this one and continuing to trend north. We got a few Pokemon as well. Umbreon, this has no competitive connotations at all. This is just a popular card. A lot of people like it because of the artwork. This was just a rare in Lost Thunder, so it is a non-holo variant. I believe there was also a Cosmos holo of it in the 3-pack blister, I think. But the reverse holo from the set, currently selling for about $9. It's only up about 8.5%, but definitely something you want to pull out of your reverse holo bulk if it's sitting in there. $9.61 is where it just was. Again, not a card that sells super frequently. It's super fast, but does have a little bit more value to it. The Evolutions reverse holos, same thing with the 151 reverse holos, especially if you've got the rare ones. Those still sell for a little bit. Here's the one from Evolutions, the Mewtwo. This one's up about 129% on the year. It was relatively flat from January of 2024 all the way up until September of 2024. Now it's taken another step forward over the past couple months. You can see it up to $6.65. So up about 129% over the past year. There's some other Evolutions non-holo rares in the reverse holo variant that actually are doing fairly well. So definitely Mewtwo, one you want to pull out right now, $6.65. The Roserade, a big card in competitive play. This one has dropped quite a bit over the past year, but still, this is just a rare card. If you've got the reverse holo variant, it's huge in GLC, in the Gym Leader Challenge format because of that Le Parfum ability. It's currently sitting at $20.71, which isn't like, I mean, it's down, right? It's down about 32% over the year, which is substantial. Like, that's a big drop from $30.47, but still a rare, reverse holo that you might have in your bulk that's selling for $20. If you can get $10 for that, I mean, that's a few booster packs, or that's some special illustration rares that you might be able to add to your collection. So definitely things you want to take out. Uturnborn, Uturnborn. This is a card that's done a lot better in GLC as of late, and because of that, it's increased in price quite a bit. You can see in December of 2023, this was a 92-cent card for reverse holo. It's gone up all year as it's gotten more and more popular, more and more played. It's up about 435% on the year, sitting at $4.92. Another situation where if you can get $3 for it, I mean, definitely something you want to move off of. of because you can add other things to your collection, and it's doing no good sitting in your bulk box. Same thing with Battle Compressor, used in GLC a lot. In March of 2024, this was sitting at $7.63. Not up a lot over the past year, but a staple in a lot of GLC decks, a lot of older format decks, and that's why it's up about 14%. $8.75 is where it's currently sitting, which is just off of its one-year high of $9.30. And the last one we're going to look at is Hex Maniac. There's a lot of other reverse holos as well. You can just kind of go to TCG Player, just search all the single cards, and just limit your filters to best-selling reverse holos, and they'll give you a list of like all these different cards that you might have in your bulk boxes that are worth a couple dollars. And if you have a TCG Player account, you might want to look at offloading some of them, or like I said, reaching out to your local game store, or maybe a card trading them on, you know, a Discord server or a Reddit forum or Facebook or somewhere like that. Hex Maniac in May of 2024, this is sitting at $1.96. That was its one-year low. It's up about 42% on the year. This one came out, I think, in Ancient Origins. Jumped up really well. So it's sitting at $3.11 right now, which is just off of its one-year high of $3.17. Like I said, there are a lot more that you may want to look at, just kind of see, but it's really important sorting through your cards as you go, especially as you open. I know it's really fun to open up Pokemon cards, and it can seem like a little bit of work, you know, if you're opening up Pokemon cards to sort into piles, but it's definitely something that I would recommend doing just so you can easily search through. Like if you've got your trainer cards separated from all of your Pokemon, finding something like a Hex Maniac, a Battle Compressor, a Uturnborn would be a lot easier to do. If you've got your rares sorted, finding something like a Roserade or a Mewtwo would be a lot easier to do if they're organized a little bit in boxes. So that's my recommendation. That's my content for the day. I hope you enjoy it. If you did, please hit that subscribe button down below. Like I said, it does go a long way. Every like, every comment, every new subscriber. So thank you so much for everything. Thank you so much for 150,000 subscribers. Never, ever would I have thought that would happen. I love you guys. You guys are absolutely amazing. We'll be back tomorrow with the stream. Till next time, peace.